Hello, 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 and welcome to Spill It, the show where we speak to inspirational people and their inspirational stories to connect people together, inspire others, and help people learn something new. Now, of course, this episode is no different. It is episode 100, one last time, the final episode of Spill It. Possibly ever, who knows? But for now, this final episode is one last time. And you're probably wondering, where is Marcus? Why is this strange guy in a crystal and a crazy shirt on my screen? I'm Matkin. You might remember me from the Takeover episode that I did, and also I did an episode with Marcus back almost 2 years ago now about the arts during lockdown. It was fantastic. I enjoyed my time so much that he invited me back to do a takeover episode with Sam, Chris, and Peter from the Grove House, which the episode was, for me, my favorite. It was absolutely fantastic to share some times with them. And of course, Sam Dunstan's iconic ad break, which was something that I'll always take over and take from that. And there's something. Oh, I'm getting hench at the gym. It's called pizza. I think I've had too many takeaways, Lindsay. Hi, Claire. You're right. Miss you. So that's basically sort of my history on Spill It, and then I'm here again. And people might think, oh, God, ugh. So, it's the part of the show where we do What is Your Ick? Something that's been icking me recently is people that don't wash up properly. Now, I think this is something that might be universal. You know, people don't have dishwashers, they have to do it manually. I have only had a dishwasher once in my life. I've only had that privilege. And it's one of the simplest tasks to do, in my eyes, to wash your fucking plates up properly. And of course, it for me, working in pubs and bars for a long time, a dirty plate is not welcome, and a dirty glass is an absolute sin, especially if I'm going to be drinking beer out of it. I don't want any milk or shit in my glass. Apologies for my language. But that is, you know, that is my absolute ick. I'm sure there are more icks around, but that's the end of today's ick section. Disgusting! Now, do not forget to like, rate, and subscribe to the channel, please. Of course, there is this fantastic thing called the algorithm that, you know, somewhere in the stratosphere, it brings everyone on. And obviously, share. Hit that share button. Share it to as many people as you can. And the in the government talking plenty of pizza. Mine is ready. See you later. Yep, mine's ready later. But the algorithm, it makes it brings it all there, and you know, we want as many people to watch. It's the final episode, and of course, get those comments in and questions live via email, or put them live, and you can email them to marcus@spillit.uk. Now, you're probably sick of seeing my face solely on your screen, so I think it's only appropriate to introduce the guest of the hour. Now, as this is the last episode, we think it's fantastic to bring on the one, the only final guest there could ever be, Mr. Marcus Wright.
Hello.
Here he is.
It's so weird, like, being on this side.
You've been shifted to the right.
I know. I'm used to being over here. But yes, I am the final guest of Spill It. How's that?
Super exciting, super exciting. Woo! It's morning all. Dance.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah, so all the Dance X's are in the Black Bull, and they're having their Christmas get together. Wishing you were here, but you are sat live with us all. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah,
welcome on the other side of things. Are you scared? Are you happy?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous because like we've only like talked briefly about what the plan was. So I was going to obviously be your guest, and the reason for it was because you did a takeover episode at the end of season 1, so it was quite fitting for you to then be the host at the end of Spill It. And there were so many people over the 3 years that I've been doing Spill It that has asked, why has somebody never done, like why somebody never interviewed you? Have you ever thought about that? And I never wanted to do that, and then it just seemed very, very fitting that the final episode should be me being the guest. But yeah, like that's all we've talked about, and like I'm quite nervous because I know that you're gonna. I'm not prepared for any of the questions that you've got. I don't even know. The only thing that you've told me to do is bring a drink.
I never change. You should always have a drink around me.
I have my drink. I know it looks like milk, but it's actually a vegan-friendly Bailey's. So there you go.
Whatever floats your boat, Marcus. Whatever floats your boat. Okay, now Marcus, you will know that this is obviously the finale, end of season 3. That during season 3, you have been playing a game with.
Yes, I have.
Yes, and this game, if you remember correctly, is called Absolutely Useless.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, I've been watching all of these, so I know what the rules are anyway. So I think I'll be pretty good at this.
As we said, you know all the rules. But for those at home that have not, you might have been living under a rock for the last however many episodes of season 3. But this is a 10-question quick fire round, very easy questions. All you need to do is answer them in the quickest time. So this next bit gets a bit complicated. So the quickest person wins Spill It merchandise. Now, Marcus, I don't think it's fair that you win your own game. So how about you play for me? I want some Spill It merch. I want that beanie.
Okay. I can get behind that. This is going to be really embarrassing if I actually do awful. But yeah, I'll play for your merch then. Since you don't get to have a go of the game, I will play for you.
Because when I was on, this was never a thing. So I want to play for this merch.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. Let's do it.
And the biggest catch of this game. So anyone who is listening on the podcast, either recorded or live, you must answer all the questions incorrectly. So don't worry. Those listening, you might get the answer right, but Marcus must answer them all incorrectly. Okay. I've got the timer. Marcus. Oh, are you ready?
No.
Okay. Your time starts now. Dua Lipa had a UK #1 hit called New What?
Madonna.
Jurassic Park 3 was released in what year?
1973.
Who won the X Factor in 2006?
Carol Vorderman.
What is my middle name?
Cassandra.
What was your second name before marriage?
Jewest.
Gordon's, Tanqueray, and Sipsmith are all types of what?
Pie.
What color is red wine?
Turquoise.
What do you put in a toaster?
Milk.
You live in what UK city?
Sunderland.
How many guests have you had on Spill It?
50.
Stop. Okie dokie.
Wow. Honestly, the pressure is like unreal. I am, guys out there. If you are listening to this and you've been on my show during season 3, I apologize for putting you under this pressure. That is horrendous. Because like you say the answer, the thing is that you say the wrong answer in your head, and then the question comes out, and then you think, "Oh my god, this is the right answer," and then and then you start questioning yourself. That is awful. I am so sorry.
I need to screenshot your time. There we
go. What was my time?
57 seconds.
Oh, right, okay.
So you've got one with merch with that groan.
We'll wait and see, because we're gonna go through the results of every single person's answers. So
okay.
Yeah,
we'll wait.
That'll be announced.
Bated breath.
Well, yeah, I feel incredibly useless. It was your middle name one that screwed me over, you know. Because I was like, I don't know your middle name, so I had to think of something, because I was going to say John, and then I was like, but if it's John, so then I thought, well, it's going to have to be a really, really out there name, and the first name that popped into my head was, for some reason, Cassandra.
Cassandra, I mean, it's the right answer.
Wait.
It's Alexander, for anyone wondering.
Ah, yes.
I was given 2 very long names and a very short second name. Compensating. Okay, so let's talk about you. So that's why we're here today. We're here to celebrate you. We're here to celebrate everything that you have done on the show. And we're going to sort of take it back. Let's take it back to 2020. So, Marcus, you're there. You're having a thought of something you want to do. And what is going through your head? How did you come up with this idea?
Well, let's be honest. It wasn't a thought that was going through my head. It was what was happening at the time was a mental breakdown.
At least we forget.
It was horrible. Okay, so where I used to work, I had to, so we had to make digital content because of the fact that we weren't allowed to visit stores and do face-to-face training. So we had to make online content. Now, there was somebody who oh, hang on, I'm watching but can't hear you. Try turning your volume up. Try turning your volume up, Carolyn. I'm sure that will work. Love you. So yeah, we had to make online content or online digital content, and there was somebody online who basically did a morning talk show type thing, and they used this platform actually, and it took me a while, and I did some digging and did some stalking to find out what platform it was, and then I did my own little research. So this was supposed to be very much linked to my job. So very early on in the earlier episodes, you will see certain branded items or clothing that I was wearing that was very much, this is who I am representing, and this is what, this is part of my work, etc. And yeah, I had the idea that I wanted to create a show, and it was going to be an online show. It was supposed to be something because we were all locked away in our houses and we weren't allowed to see each other, and we weren't allowed to talk to friends and loved ones like face to face. I thought, well, doing something like this essentially brings people back together again, but in a virtual space. And then not only that, it allowed people the opportunity to say a story of their own to help educate other people. And because we were all caught up in a little bubble, like, and then because we were all isolated from everybody, we weren't experiencing other people's lives or seeing things through other people's eyes. So I thought, well, this type of platform would be absolutely ideal. And that's why Spill It was birthed essentially. And then very quickly, so just as, because obviously I touched on the work stuff, and obviously it's nothing to do with that anymore. It got to about episode, I think it was either like episode 5 or 6, but it was very early on. And I received no feedback. I received no support. I received nothing from the work that I used to work at. And not only that, I interviewed someone. Oh, actually, so I interviewed Nathan Henry. So Nathan Henry came on the show and he said a quote, and I absolutely pissed. It was so funny. It basically said like it was about his coming out story and how other people should be more accepted and blah blah blah. And he he said that he basically said to his mum about like who he was and all of that, and his mum basically said, "Oh, I don't care. Go ahead and go and suck that dick." And I was like, that is hilarious. So I got it printed on a t-shirt. Like hashtag suck that dick. And what we did is that actually I sold those t-shirts and all of the money got donated to the LGBTQ plus charity Mind Out, which is basically Mind, your mental health charity organization, but specifically for LGBTQ plus people. So I did. So we sold all of these T-shirts, and then we sent them. I distributed the money to the charity organization. However, and this is where the separation happened. However, I then got a phone call from who was my line manager at the time, who said, "You can't wear that T-shirt or be promoting it because it goes against company standards and blah blah blah. And if you're going to do this show, then you need to be very regimented. Like nobody will want to see that." And I thought, hang on, no, this is for charity. Like these are charity T-shirts, and not only that, for weeks you've not supported this as a platform, and so therefore. I then created this little banner that comes on at the start of every single episode. Opinions expressed are solely my own and do not reflect the views or opinions of my employer. And then I deleted absolutely everything from my work social media accounts. So therefore, this could never be associated with my place of work. And yeah, they very quickly regretted that decision to kind of come at me because I clapped back. And from there, Spill It just grew. Like the moment that I just let go of it being a work thing, it just started flying. But essentially, I've gone off on a tangent. Yes, the the reason that it started was a mix of getting it ready for work, but then obviously leaving it away from work. But essentially, it was a way to just connect people together during lockdown and help people see things from other people's perspectives, just to help educate a little bit more about other people's lives and their way of life and their walking, like their walks of the strides of life and all of that lot that they needed to, like, because you don't know what somebody else is going through, and that's what I wanted to kind of share.
No, and I never knew that. I never knew that it started out as a work-related thing. Looking back now, you can sort of see the product placements.
Oh my god, it was horrendous.
I can actually sort of see it. Here's the phone. It's Apple, by the way. And
it was like earlier on. Like I think it was like either episode 1 or episode 2, and I said something along the lines of. So I'm recording this currently on my something phone, which is brilliant. And even though yada yada yada, and I started basically doing this whole pitch thing, like
for the Truman Show. You were turning into the Truman Show.
It was horrible. It was very. It was not me.
Wife. Truman's wife is there, so they're randomly, pointing Cocoa Pops at the camera, going, "You want to eat these Cocoa Pops?" And
exactly.
It's one of those. Yes, we've digressed. However, I love it. This is what, unfortunately, guys, is the crazy ride you're in for tonight.
I'm
It's
sure though
June.
that if anybody in the comments or who's watching also has some burning questions, I'm sure that they're not going to like
Oh yeah.
hold that back. They're going to like ask some burning questions, and I'm going to be completely honest, or as honest as I can be. I'm not sure how honest I can be.
Wait to hear mine. Um, cast your mind back. It's June the 24th, 2020. It's 18:59. You're about to go live for your first Spill It episode. And can you remember the name of your first episode?
The Watcher's Guide to the Slayer, or the Watcher's Guide to Vampire Slayer, or something like that.
Watcher's Guide to the Slayer. And do you remember what you looked like in that episode? I think everyone should see what you look like on your very first episode. Look at little baby Marcus.
Oh, look at oh my god, that logo.
All the merch is
know.
you kitted out.
So actually, if you just pop that back on just for 2 seconds, let me just dissect this little image for you, right? Okay. So this is this is Marcus before I discovered the sense of I could wear glasses that actually make a statement. These are like very Specsavers glasses, okay? Then I'm going to talk about this logo right here. So this logo, that was the very first Spill It logo, and I created
if I take this off, you can see it there.
Yeah, so I created my own logo, and that was what it was. So I got that image from Google, and I just asked for like a cartoony type teacup that was like empty, and that was the image that came up. And then I put the tea in there, and I wanted it splashing out. So I created that myself. And then that was the logo that Mike, who's on last week's episode, he looked at it and went, I could do you a logo that's a lot better than that, Marcus. And I was like, okay, you do that. Thank you very much. And I also, the thing is that because I wanted it so much, like I put it on my t-shirt because I wanted to be proper on brand. And I don't have that t-shirt anymore. Now, you won't even be able to see it, but above, so where the splashes are, like right next to it, there's a little Spill It. There's a words that say Spill It on it as well. So yeah, so there's that.
I see I see it, and if I've taken off.
If you chuck in the logo on the top right corner now, you'll be able to see just like really, really faint. It says Spill It. Yeah, so this is really bad logo. And then, so the cup that's in front of me, that's nothing to do with work or anything like that. I know that talks about placements, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. So this mug is from it's a merch mug called it says the Bronze on it, which the Bronze is a pub or club in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is why I wanted to have that cup there, because my very first episode was talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then the product placement there is that little watch there. That's the watch from the company who shall not be named. So yeah, that was very.
I think I gave a little clue with this. It's the opposite of that, probably.
Yeah.
The opposite of my phone.
So yeah,
he's suing me.
God, I couldn't even remember you with them normal glasses, says Claire. No, neither can I. That's the thing. I came across some glasses actually. You can get rid of the photo now. Yeah, I came across some glasses when we moved to Manchester. I was going through all the things, and I found a glasses case box, and I opened them, and I was like, "Oh my god, look at these glasses! These are horrible! These are horrendous!" I just like, these are my glasses now. These are like my bright orange ones. And the reason that I don't wear them, so on that very first episode, I was wearing them all the way through because I can't see, obviously. And the reason that I don't wear them is because from that very first episode, all I could see was the reflection of the ring light in front of me. So I took them off from all of the episodes going forward. So even now, the reason I don't wear glasses when doing my live streams, and I need them, is because it has a bad reflection. So if I put them on, for example, you can see the reflection of the screen in front of me. And yeah, so that's the reason why I ever since I don't wear glasses on the stream. There you go, little fun stories for you. Keep tuned for more.
Gonna love it.
So still internet.
So Oh my god! So that
I think this
that
Baileys has gone to my head already.
good. You'll need it. So that was the birth. You've described us the birth, and the whole sort of Truman Show-esque product placements that you're having to do in the beginning that have now completely disappeared, which is welcome disappearance. And then you start to get the wheels start turning, the traction is going, you're starting to get on a radar. You've got this beautiful new microphone that you tap on the top and it goes red, and you've got your headphones, your signature, and you start to now create a brand. And when did it really click? When that brand clicked, when you actually became Marcus, the guy from Spill It, and Spill It is Marcus.
I don't know, I think, I don't know. I still find it all, even though we're like coming to an end, I still find it all just weird. I don't know. I think the moment, right? So I was walking through Morrison's when I was back in Preston on the docks, and as I was walking through, there was somebody who came up to me and said, "You do a podcast, or you do a show on Facebook, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And they're like, "Oh, I watch it every week, and this is what I think, and blah blah." And I was just like, "That's weird." The fact that people recognize me, which I found just completely bizarre. The next thing was the next thing was that I don't know. When people started talking about it and wanting to know more, and then people were coming to me and asking to be on the show. So it wasn't me reaching out to guests, it was people actually reaching out. So the first person to reach out, obviously Nathan Henry, as I talked about before, but even bigger than Nathan Henry, Brianne Davis, she's an amazing actress over in Hollywood, over in America. She followed me on Instagram. And the thing is, funny story. Sorry, Brianne, if you ever decide that you're going to listen to this or watch this. So Brianne Davis inboxed me. So she followed me first on Instagram, and then she inboxed me. And she said, "Oh, I've heard about your show. I've given a few episodes a listen. I'd love to come on and talk about X, Y, and Z." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sounds great. Yeah, thank you." And then I had to message all of my friends and go, "Who's Brianne Davis?" Because I genuinely had no idea who she was, and I did a bit of a Google search, etc. And I just couldn't I couldn't place her. And yeah, the more and more people started telling me who she was, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so she's legit. That's fine." And then when people were buying my merch, that's when I talked about this a couple of episodes ago. I ordered 200 beanie hats from France and 200 leather labels from Amsterdam to be shipped over. And I was going to hand stitch them myself because I thought, well, it's only going to be like one or two or whatever. And so I did a pre-order system. And then before the hats had even arrived, I'd sold all 200. And I was like, that is crazy. I'm still currently selling pin badges over in America, which is mind-blowing. Like, people are still buying the merch over in America. In America, I'm apparently a massive hit. So holla. Thanks, America for tuning in. And then the most recent thing, when I first got my present job, my current job, I was walking through the Arndale Centre and somebody was wearing a Spill It beanie hat. And I was like,
no way.
My God, that's mine. And I just thought, yeah, it was mental. I think, yeah, so there was different points, but I still think that it's completely weird, like completely strange. I still don't think, and I always start the show by saying, this is just a small show where it's just me and blah, blah, and this little show that I call Spill It. Like, I never think that it's actually bigger than what it actually is. I always think that it's really small, but actually it's quite big, and people do know it and people do speak about it. I mean, for goodness sake, it's streamed in 28 countries across the globe, which is in itself mind-boggling.
And you know, the fact that you've reached this sort of broad, you know, and the thing is, it's like we're doing this live now, we're getting comments in live, but the best way for people to usually listen to this is when it's recorded, and people will be scrolling through Spotify, they'll be scrolling through YouTube, the algorithm will hit them and sort of show what they're interested in, and then they will click on your podcast. And that's the beauty of it. You know, we are doing this live. This will obviously be recorded. People probably think, what the hell is his accent, especially with me, because it's half Southern, half Northern. But like it's incredible. And you know, you have interviewed an array of guests, and it would be completely bonkers to try and break down them all. But I mean, obviously, you've interviewed drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race UK. You've interviewed celebrities. You've interviewed actors. You've interviewed local heroes. You've interviewed people with incredible stories. You interviewed theatre practitioners. You've you know, if you add them all up and you put them all there, every single one might have, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I made a spider diagram and it's the most complicated spider diagram I've ever made in my life. But of who does what, who is what, and this kind of stuff. You have interviewed, drum roll, over 107 guests in your time.
Jeez.
And that this all includes, you know, your takeover episodes, your lunchtime episodes that you had right at the start, if people remember them. And you also have total up 164 hours, 7 minutes, and 2 seconds worth of podcast recordings. Now, that's a lot of hours that you're probably never going to get back. You're only getting younger. But this is your legacy, Marcus. This is what, you know, Spirit is not leaving behind, but keeping there. And, you know, I have some fun little awards that I'm going to ask you to announce.
Oh, lovely.
This is the start of it, guys. It's not even the wheels have not fallen off yet.
Just to kind of interject there as well, like you said that like this is like 164 hours that I'm not getting back, and that this is what I've put out there for everybody to hear and all of that lot. And I just it's forever going to be there. Like Spill It may be coming into an end, and you know we're recording the final episode now. This is going to be edited and put onto the podcast at some point in the future as well. It's crazy to think that Spill It will always be there for people to go back to and listen to. Like even in 5 years from now, somebody may come across Spill It and go, oh, well, let's give this a listen. It's out there now in the ether. It's in the digital world, and there are so many different copies of it that I won't be able to keep track of where it is if I wanted to delete it all. Not saying that I would do, but even if I wanted to, there's just so many different platforms that it's over now that I wouldn't be able to capture every single one of them. It just means that Spill It will always be there, and I have created something. I am very, very proud of it, that I have created this platform and this show, these stories, and I've pushed them out there that will be talked about for however many years in the future. It's good to think of it like that, I suppose.
No, of course. And you know, of all these people you've had on the show, you know, I remember in your last episode, you were talking about all the you know, you're reflecting. You know, your last episode was very much a reflection of your time and the people you've spoken to. And I know you've mentioned quite a lot of people in that episode. And just to sort of stretch on that, you know, as somebody who was, you know, a guest on your podcast, you know, you then was like, would you like to do a takeover episode? You know, I enjoyed my time. Don't get me wrong. I was faced when I was on your show the first time round, and I had a huge quiff that had a blonde highlight in it, and I enjoyed all that time that I had there. And then obviously with the guys on the takeover, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I enjoyed every second, and you have been a constant, you know, and it's even on the takeover episodes, you are there in the background. People might not know this who listen to the podcast, but for every one of those takeover episodes, Marcus is in the background doing all the technical stuff, sitting there having his little vino or having his little Baileys. Well, you know, sort of vegan Baileys he's having now. You know, they're doing all of the behind the scenes stuff, and I think, you know, that's a credit to you. You've created this, and, you know, even with the takeovers, you give us the platform to do it, but you're always there. You've always been that constant throughout the whole thing. You'd never want to miss an episode because you're a fan of your own show, and I love that. And
I am my biggest fan. I'm not going to
exactly.
lie. I think I'm hilarious. I watch stuff back on playback or whatever, and then I'll laugh to myself. Like, I'll crack a joke on live, and then I'll listen to it back, and I'll go, "That was hilarious." I just think that I'm hilarious. I am my biggest fan. I don't care what anyone else says.
All I'm saying is that's the best. If you're your biggest fan, you know, narcissism's out the window. You know, there's nothing left there. But, you know, to sort of wrap up this, you know, as I've said, you've spoken to people in the public eye, you've spoken to local heroes, you've spoken to people of the LGBT community to get their voice out there, and I can honestly say to you, thank you. And it's you know, and especially in the north, you know, I'm a traitor. I don't live in the north anymore, but in the north, it's something that isn't spoken about enough. There's a culture, and that culture is slowly being broken down, but not fast enough. And you've obviously mentioned all this with so many people that you've spoken to about masculinity, about, you know, trans rights, about, you know, just the gay flag in general, you know, educating people. And that's where your connect, inspire, learn comes from. And
the thing is, actually, so I wasn't like that before Spill It. So before Spill It, or during like the very first episodes of Spill It, when Spill It was just finding its feet and I was finding my feet, it wasn't that I was very aware of the things that were going on in the LGBTQ plus community. And it wasn't that I was aware of toxic masculinity and the way that the patriarchal society is that in the life that we live. It wasn't any of that. But speaking to so many different guests, and I said it on the very first episodes, that even I'm learning, and what came from that was my own education. And so therefore I used this as a platform to educate myself, and then as well as others. And once things just kind of fit in place, I just pushed that message out even further. When I knew that there was something that was worth talking about and something that was not right in society, I pushed that out on this platform. But it wasn't always like that, because I was learning myself. I'm still learning every day. Every day we all learn. And I keep saying that. But I reiterate the messages that I have learned from doing all of these episodes. And I think it's made me a better person. It's made me more articulate. It's made me more educational about certain backgrounds and certain ways of life. And I'm forever grateful for that. So, yeah.
Love it. Right. Now, we've spoken about, you know, all this amazing stuff that you've done, and you've obviously you've reflected in your last episodes, but now it's time for some fun stuff. And this fun stuff it's basically, I'm going to give you awards that you must give to somebody that you have had on the show. There's 4 awards. I'll tell you what these awards are. Then once we've done the awards, we're going to do a game called Truth or Drink, which I'll ask questions to you, and then you will either drink if you're not wanting to answer it, or you answer it and you don't drink, or you drink, you know, it's one of those.
Okay.
Okay. So
this is going to be really awkward.
Ooh, here we go.
Feel free to play along as well at home. If you've been watching all of the
Ask
episodes, please
any
feel free
questions
to.
you want, and we'll put them
Well,
on.
not only just asking questions, but if there's certain awards that you would like to give out, or if you disagree with my decisions, then feel free to drop in the comments.
Okay. So the first award is the Verbal Diarrhea Award, which is the most talkative guest you've ever had. So the person you couldn't shut up.
Oh. There's a few.
Give us the nominees then.
Oh no.
Who do you distinctly remember going, okay? And you know it in your head. I can see.
I do know it. Okay.
So those who end up with the awards, it's not personal. It's just a bit of fun.
Okay, yeah.
Hashtag don't take life too
It's just
seriously.
a bit of fun. It's just a bit of fun, guys. I'm so sorry.
Don't be a candle blower. Hashtag.
So I did an episode at the start of season 2, I think. And it was a woman from over in the US called Dawn, I believe. And it was about her achieving, I mean, to be fair, her story was incredible. She was somebody who never did any exercise and things like that. And then she got up one day and she was like, I'm just going to go and run a 5K run. And she ran a 5K run. And then one day she just went, I'm going to run a 10K run. And out she did. And she did a 10K run. And she just kind of worked herself up and up and up. And she's now this like big fitness person. And I loved the episode. I couldn't facilitate the conversation and I couldn't move it on because it was all about this celebratory race. And then, see, there's somebody else now. There's so many people that just pop into my head. But I would say, I'm so sorry. I would say
it's not personal. These people should take it on the chin.
However, there is another person. I think it would be a toss-up between her and somebody called Bobby, who was also over in America, and he came on to talk about 2 books that he'd released, and it was all about those books, and I needed to try and get the conversation to be about inspiration and, you know, what can people take away from this episode? But it was all about the promotion of the book, and it wasn't great to again facilitate that conversation and to move that along. I'm so sorry, guys. If you're watching this or listening to this, I'm so sorry. Okay. They were both really, really great episodes. Don't get me wrong. Really great episodes.
You've got to reflect. There's got to be someone that falls into that. If it wasn't me, it's going to have to be someone else.
Oh, really bad.
So the next award is the Brick Wall Award. This is the least talkative guest who you would ask a question and they'd probably give you a yes or a no answer. Who is this, Marcus?
See, I know straight away as well.
I know you know, and I think you told me who it is. So
I'm with you, Lindsay. Lindsay says savage. Yes, it's savage, this. And Claire also saying, I am here for the awkwardness. Right, okay, so
spill it, it's a bit of fun. I mean, what is the name of the show?
I know, right? Okay, sod it. here's my drink. Here's some tea for you guys. Right. Okay, I have got 2 for this. Number one was a lady called Jackie who, oh my God, it was so hard. It was just tough. It was a tough interview. It was hard because when I did a pre-interview with her, she was fine during the pre-interview, and I was like, okay, yeah, we vibe, that's fine. And then when it got to the actual night, it was either like stage fright or something, but it was just, I was like, so what do you think about this? And then the answer was, sure. I was just like, come on, I need a little bit more, because the issue that I have is because I'm a very, very big personality, so I take up a lot of space, just personality wise. I'm not fat, guys. I'm trying my best, but I take up a lot of space personality wise. So to be able to vibe properly and have a good episode, people also need to reach up to my level. I try to move down a little bit, but I don't want to move down so much that it becomes a boring episode. So I have to offset. So if my personality is like really, really strong here, and then I get a weaker person here, I've also then got to bring my personality up by another few more percent just to balance the episode out. Oh, yeah, I agree, Lindsay. It's the last episode, so bring the tea. There you go. There's your tea for today.
Okay. The next award is the Loose Cannon Award for the most out of control guest.
Oh, easy. Christopher Finnegan, 100%. 100%. Like, not that he's a loose cannon as in like a bad way. No. It was such a good episode, but he, like, you put 10 pence in him and he goes off. Like, that is done. That's him. That with a million different conversations.
Incredibly passionate guy.
Yeah, very passionate.
I love that about him. Honestly, you need a DMC. Chris is the guy for you. I remember it was his 30th birthday, and I was with him, and we're in God, I can't remember what it was. We're in Doncaster doing like an R&D, and we were literally sat out in the garden, and it was literally like it was like 23:59 just before his birthday, and I was like, it was almost like Brian Cox-esque, like these stars are all for you. But like, you know, it was like all, and you know, we got really deep. We had some deep conversation. But sorry, as you were saying, I'm king of a tangent as well.
No, you were right. Yeah, he's a little firecracker. And our episode that we did, so we were talking about toxic masculinity from like a male's point of view, and it's okay to actually say, you know what, guys, I feel a little bit upset about this, or I feel a little bit angry about this, or whatever, and talk about your feelings. It's okay to not be like Mr. Macho all the time, and that's what we were talking about. We were talking about the fact that you don't have to be a macho man. There's no such thing as macho man. This is just a mindset that people have. And that episode, I mean, all of my episodes, I do try. Sometimes they run over, or sometimes they run massively under. But I try to keep my episodes around the 1 hour mark. This one's going to be an exception as well, guys. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, our episode, mine and Christopher Finnegan's episode was like nearly an hour and 45 minutes just talking about toxic masculinity. But it wasn't we talking about toxic masculinity. It was Chris also talking about toxic masculinity as well. And he's definitely a little firecracker, bless him. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on the show twice over as well. It was very much appreciated. But yeah, he's definitely a little firecracker anyway.
We love you, Chris.
We do.
Okay, last award is the Saint Award for the person who stuck to the script the most.
Oh.
And was the basically the most polite guest you've had. You probably have a lot of them, actually, more than
because
outweigh the bad.
Because the thing is that, I mean, I know that you say like who followed the script the best. It wasn't. Spillet's never been scripted. Like we have. Yeah. I get what you mean, but just to put this out there, like Spillet is never scripted. I have like a roundabout plan of where we start, what's the middle look like, and how does the end look like. But Spillet is never scripted, which is why certain things that I say will change over time, etc. Because it's never scripted. And the way that, like Christopher Finnegan, for example, he can just go off on a tangent and just start talking about everything and right the wrongs of the world. And I like that because Spill It isn't scripted. There are no scripted questions, etc. I would probably say I'm probably going to give this award to a lovely person who's just recently come back on the show as well, which is Alexandra. So Alexandra came on and she was talking about her being an endo warrior, endo coach for endometriosis, people who suffer with endometriosis. She is an absolute legend because we met randomly, completely randomly. And we talked about this on the show, and I talked about it on the Fridays Tea with Marcus episode as well. I'm a qualified life coach, and when I got my qualification, I wanted to do a bit of love a bit of Spill It. Thanks for having us on. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for joining. Appreciate that. And yeah, your episode was great as well. But yeah, when Alexandra, so I did my life coach qualification, and then I wanted a bit of a top up, like of what was, the do's, the don'ts, and how to set the company up and blah, blah, blah. And so I joined this random seminar for coaches. And then they split us off into different groups. And Alexandra was in my group. We'd never met. We'd never done anything together at all. This was our first time meeting. And she talked about her platform. And I was like, I want you on my show. And the moment that I said that, she went, 100%, I'm there. And she was there. She was prompt. She gave me photos when I asked for them. She gave me her inspirational quote straight off the bat. She came on the show. She just did it perfectly, beautifully spoken. And then when she came back on the show, exactly the same. And the fact she has got such a beautiful soul. So I 100% want to give that award to her, because I think she deserves it. She's such a likable and lovable person. And she said so many nice things as well about how Spill It and how I have helped her out as well, like just from coming on the show. So yeah, it was very well deserving, that one.
Love it. Okay, so those were the formal awards.
Oh, great. Oh, I forgot there's more.
So now it's time for a bit of truth or drink. Now,
okay,
I have a few for you, and I have them on my phone. The first one for you, truth or drink, is to name the most disastrous episode of Spill It.
Father Christmas. No hesitation. Father Christmas, 100%. Like, I can't. I wanted that episode to be phenomenal, and it just was a car crash. There were people asking questions, and he wasn't biting those questions and moving it forward, and it was such a tough episode. I can't say what I wanted, because there might be believers watching, so I can't. I wanted Father Christmas to have a different personality. I wanted Father Christmas to have a different personality. That's what I think. That's how I can safely say it. But yeah, without hesitation, worst episode.
You are not who I thought you were.
Yeah, I was like, are you a fake?
Okay. Truth or drink? The most rudest guest you've ever had on Spill It.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to say it because I highly doubt that he'll watch this. I'll drink as well because I want to have a drink. So. Okay, I've not had alcohol in so long. It's Halloween party. So yeah, right.
2 months.
Yeah, that's a long time for me. Okay.
Yeah.
He won't watch this, and he won't listen to the episode. So I'm going to say it. Oh, well, I still love him, but Daniel Franzese, who played Damien in Mean Girls. Yeah, he came on and talked about HIV, because he's a massive advocate for HIV awareness, etc. However, he was very backstage, before we went actually live, he was quite rude to me. I got on backstage and I was like, oh hi, I just want to say, firstly, thank you so much for coming on this show. I really, really appreciate it. I am such a fan. I've loved you and followed your story since you were in Mean Girls. And he went, interrupts me and he went, whoa, 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 whoa. Calm down. You've got this. Okay. Let's just chill out and let's get this episode done. And I was like, excuse me? I know how to do my show. I wasn't fangirling that much. I was basically just being grateful for the fact that he'd come on the show and just telling him that I was a very, very good friend. And I was just like, okay. Oh no, I would have fucked him right. Yeah. And then right at the end, a friend of mine had commented something to do with Mean Girls. It was a quote from Mean Girls, like, she doesn't even go here. And I was like, so this person's put this comment, and obviously I can't let you leave without having a quick conversation about what your time was like on the show, on the film Mean Girls. And he went, oh. And like, I paused a little bit and I was like, so can you tell us a little bit about that? And he went, yeah, it feels like I can never escape it. And I was just like, okay, so I can't. He obviously doesn't want me to talk about this, even though I was clearly going to talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about it. So therefore, let's just quickly rush on. I think I asked him like that one question, which was, what was your time like? And then I said, so, and then I brought the conversation back to somewhere else just because he was clearly uncomfortable in talking about that experience. And I just thought, yeah, I'm all right. And then not only that, so obviously, as you know, when the camera's off and the live disconnects, we have a little bit of a chat afterwards, and we just have a what did you think? Thanks again for coming on the show, etc. He just clicked, it'll get close the window and just exit it like straight away, and I was like, oh right, okay. He's not even saying goodbye or anything. He was just off. See you later. Yeah, it was horrible, really. Not horrible. It was still a really, really good interview. It was still a really good story to talk about. I just thought that he was quite rude. There you go.
There's your rudest guess, guys.
How do you deal with the show after that kind of awkward vibe? What, deal with this show or deal with that show? Like, as in that particular episode? You'll have to explain.
Clay, you need to enlighten us.
Yeah, I would have asked him nothing but Mean Girls questions on purpose.
So he's a mean boy.
So he's a mean boy. Love that as well. Yeah, I think
it's a shame, really. It is a shame.
So deal with him on that episode. Claire's clarified. So it was, I don't know. I think because of the fact that it was still Daniel Franzese, it was still going to be a really good episode. And the show must go on, as the famous line goes. And yeah, I just think that I'm very quick, as you know, Matt, from me interviewing you and from obviously all the work that we've done anyway. I'm very good at adapting to a certain situation and then changing the narrative however I see is the best way, is the best course of action on this platform. And so, yeah, even though it was a really bad vibe to start off with, I was still very positive about the message that needed to get across. So, yeah, I just dealt with it. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend. 1 star.
I love it. Okay, so that was the rudest one. Biggest arsehole you've had to interview? Truth or drink?
Oh no.
You either gotta say it or drink.
Okay, I'm gonna say it.
He's actually gonna say it, guys. He's actually gonna say it.
I'm gonna say it. I'll deal with the consequences later. I don't care. Let me just drink first. I'm doing it. I just want to drink as well. Okay, I'm gonna do it because loophole. He wasn't originally an arsehole. Now he's an arsehole. And that's the route that I want to go down. The very first time that he came on the show, because he's been on twice, The very first time was a very good episode, was a very positive person, was a good person to have on the show at the time. Then the second time he came on the show, he came across like it was more of it was a chore, and you could tell that he was getting a little bit too big for his boots. And then now he's just a dick, and I'm not a fan. And that is Mr. Dan Spragg from TikTok. Oh my god, there's gonna be so many people that are just like tagging me in this now. Like, but yeah, just as a thing. So just so I'm putting it out in the ether, okay. Just in case his Spragg army start cancelling me or whatever. Spillet's coming to an end, so you can't cancel it. But just to put this out in the ether, just so everybody's clear, I don't think that he's an absolute dick, and like I it's not that I won't get on with him. You know, I'll still say hi if he says hi, etc. I just think that he's lost his way of what his story was about. And I don't think he's being true to himself. And I think that he has become this caricature of himself for the likes and for the subscribes and all of that lot. I think that's what it is. I think that's why I don't like him. Loved him on the show, but I think now he's not the person that I would want to speak to or have back on the show, which is why I didn't reach back out to him to come on the show for season 3. Is that so? I'm drinking a coconut-based Baileys. That's what I'm drinking. Or are you asking that question because I'm just spilling all the tea? Because I think this is spilling all this milk. I think
need some milk.
I think I do think that this has gone to my head a little bit. So I don't. You can ask any question now; it's all going to come out.
I know if you were sober, you wouldn't answer these. Okay,
next
one. Next one. Guest you regret inviting on the show.
What?
The guest you regret inviting on the show.
Okay. Oh.
If that's possible. I mean, you could always drink.
I was going to lead with.
However, I'll reword it.
Okay. Because I was going to say that I don't regret the people that have come on the show, because I think that every story has been needed to be said, whether that be the right person to have said this particular story. I don't know, but I think that every guest has been important to Spillet's journey and to the stories that they want to put out there. Hi, Mike. I think Mike's just joined. As an FYI, Mike, Matt is leading this show. He's interviewing me, and I'm a little bit drunk.
Right, Marcus, I'm rewording it to the person who didn't get the message of what Spillet is about the most.
Father Christmas.
Do you remember before when they said the wheels will fall off? They've gone. Welcome to Spillet. Those who are tuning in just now. Things of
it was so hard because Mike, who's just come into the comments, Mike asked him a question, and it was something like, "When is your birthday?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't have a birthday. All the children's birthdays are important, and Christmas Day is like my birthday." And then Mike also put in the comments the actual date of Father Christmas's birthday, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" It was just, it was so awkward because I really wanted that. Right. Okay. So with the rewording of that question, I 100% think that one, purely because of the fact that there was certain issues, don't get me wrong. However, I think the other side to it as well was the fact that I wanted that particular episode to be aimed at the kids, so then people could, because it was done on, I think it was either on the 23rd or the 24th of December. I can't quite remember, back in 2020, and it was a way. I think what I wanted was for people to be able to just put it on and let their kids see Father Christmas, and then Father Christmas tell a story. But it was like pulling teeth. It was so hard. It was a very, very difficult episode, and I think,
did he win the Brick Wall Award?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just really, really tough.
So. Fantastic awards for Father Christmas. Should stay in Lapland.
Yes. Or just bring me some more coconut Baileys, and then we'll
all
be
I'm going to say to Father Christmas is stop doing interviews.
Yeah. And bring me some coconut Baileys for Christmas. Thank you very much. This episode is not sponsored by Coconut Baileys.
No, mine's not sponsored by Vedette, and I want to say that now because I know there's a sign behind me. That's just a neon sign I thought was cool.
It is cool.
And I mean, it doesn't help that I'm drinking the actual glass. I genuinely am not promoting Vedette. Other brands are available. Okay, Marcus, would you like to flip the script and become the host again, or ask me any truth or drink questions if you want to? I mean, Jesus Christ. I think it's the time that I gave the hands back over to the official.
Have we officially done my interview? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, unless you want me to carry on.
I mean, you're more than welcome to carry on, and I'll just chat. I'm enjoying having a drink. I'm gonna lie.
Oh my God! Right, okay. I don't know what.
You keep going. I'll just keep drinking. It's up to you.
Do you remember when it said?
I've got work tomorrow, by the way, Mister.
The wheels have fallen off, and yes, it's fantastic. I am here for wheels falling off. I might have to go to the fridge and get my.
Oh my God! Can I change my award?
Marcus, that's not how this works. But yes, if you want,
I have another one. I have another story, a reminiscent story. Tell you what, they can have this for free. You can go and get your drink from the fridge. Did you just say that you needed to go to the fridge?
No, not yet. I'm just saying this is. We're approaching.
I think I'm having a meltdown, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Which is fine.
Right. So let me just talk about this story. Okay. So you said like the most disastrous episode. Originally, yes. before you reworded it, I'm going to talk about the most disastrous episode.
Okay.
And it started off a little something like this, because
this is a story. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
It was in my head, and I thought I'm going to have to quickly move on the conversation before one of us sings it. And there you are. Halloween episode. I interviewed a drag queen called Miss Sherry Vine. She was amazing. She was a living legend. She was brilliant. She was professional. She was amazing. It wasn't anything to do with her. I got very drunk on that episode. I was horrendously drunk. I got a couple of, because it was a late night episode as a special, because she could only do at a certain time, and with the time difference, because she was over in America, it meant that we had to go live at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So I was like on my way to getting drunk. So I'd already had a few glasses of rum, and then during the night or during the episode, I was drinking, and my face. So when I've been drinking, I just sweat like absolutely loads, and my face was just sweating. I had face paint on, so you just saw these runs down my face. And then this wig that I had on was like all mashed up and horrible. And then at one point, I was just like, and I was just stumbling my words. I was slurring my words. I was stumbling about what I was saying. It was car crash, absolute car crash. Miss Sherry Vine, I completely apologize about that episode. I'm more professional than that. I mean, if you're listening to this episode, you're going to be like, oh, well, this is reminiscent.
Reason.
I'm sorry. You carry on, Marcus.
Yeah, it was a very, very awkward episode because I was just very, very drunk. I mean, it was a Saturday night, and so it was the weekend, and it was late at night. Of course, I was going to have a drink. Not like this Monday business. I shouldn't be drinking. I was going to drink a little bit more.
Not like this Monday business yet.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to take charge. I think every episode should have been after half of Bailey's. Okay. Let me. Oh, there we go. Look at that beautiful. There's me. Oh dear.
It's.
I look extremely tired as well. So just for the people who are listening to this on the podcast, who can't actually see the photo. So I am with a grey face, a blue wig with roses in the wig as well, wearing a skull jacket and blood coming out of my mouth. I don't know what I was supposed to be.
I'm not sure either, but
no, I think the hair looked like it was supposed to be like I dragged myself out of the ground.
I enjoy it.
And then the blood was. I'm assuming I'm supposed to be like a vampire zombie type thing. I don't know. But Miss Sherry Vine looks absolutely gorgeous as usual. So yeah, love her. Me, not so much. I'm just going to come back to Lindsay's comment here. I think every episode should have been after half a pint of Bailey's. So no, but the reason that I'm going to come back to,
I agree.
But yeah, the reason I'm going to come back to this is because there were actually plans to to basically do a Spill It episode. It was going to be called Spill It at Night, and it was going to be me and a continuous guest, and we were going to get drunk on camera or get drunk beforehand, and then we were just going to do an episode together, just be really, really drunk all the time. And that was going to be the premise of the show. However, I was quickly told that we shouldn't do that because it's promoting drinking. So I got told that I wasn't allowed to do that.
It's in every episode apart from, the ones that,
where I'm actually absolutely obliterated. Yes.
Well, the Sherry Vine one, I mean, it's nothing short of iconic, Marcus.
I know, right?
Obviously, I've done my research and I rewatched that episode, and it's so fantastically car crash. It's fantastic. I have to say it's brilliant.
And I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to say this because I don't talk about it enough. Okay. Look at my little chunky face. Look at my little chunky face.
The fucking leaves shit in your hair. That is the most iconic part of it.
Yeah, they are my.
The fact that it melts off your face like a bad Victoria sponge.
Yeah, so if you watch that episode, you can see the face paint slowly start coming away as I am sweating. It is hilarious. It is hilarious. It's a very good episode. Make sure you go back and watch it, guys.
It's honestly, it's fantastic.
Had enough of this one. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. I feel a little bit better now that I'm on the right side. Well, I'm going to flip the script a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you about exactly. So I am obviously the host of Spill It, and you are now not the host of Spill It. So thank you for your time. Well, how does it feel to come back onto Spill It and be the host?
And you know what? When you asked me, I think my response was very simple. I think it was, let's do it. When you asked me, because it's been such a long time. I mean, it's been even for us to talking to each other, it's been a very long time. And I would say it's been, nearly 2 years since you've actually, done it, anything like this. for me to be asked back, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's have fun. And for your last episode, why the hell not? Because Barbara has to be mentioned here. And it's, you know, and in my head, I was like, I'm coming to get you, Barbara.
I love it. Well, so I can't basically talk about you coming back on the show without giving a special little shout out to my dear friend Claire, who she didn't give, just as an FYI, and this is me declaring that because she told me that she has to take credit for it, and this isn't me giving her full credit. This is like a 75-25 to me credit wise. Okay, so she's getting 25% of this credit. I really struggled with what my last episode should be. And I rang Claire, and actually originally I was going to get Claire to come on the show with me. We were just going to have a chat. We were just going to have a quick chit chat. That was it.
Mhm.
However, I thought, well, the last episode needs to be iconic, and it needs to be something that people go, do you know what? That was the end. And I really liked that episode. And doing that brainstorming session with Claire, one of the things I thought of was, okay, well, I could get a celebrity back on the show who came back on, but then how do you pick which person is the best guest to come back on for the end of the season? And then from there, from this conversation with Claire, I then started thinking, excuse me, I then started thinking, well, so many people have asked, why have I never been interviewed? And that just kind of stuck with me. And so therefore I thought, well, I need to be interviewed. That will be a really good episode. If it's me, I've done 100 episodes of me interviewing people or me having just a general chit chat, but I've never had it where somebody has interviewed me on Spill It. So when I went with that idea, I couldn't think of anybody else. I had 3 different people doing takeover episodes, and it was you that stood out. It was you that I thought 100% you need to have your own episode on takeover. You need to have your own episodes on Spill It, which we were planning at some point in the future. Oh, I was planning at some point as well.
I remember us talking about that. I do remember us talking about that.
And then I thought, well, bringing you back would be full circle, because then you was originally a guest on the show during season 1. And as I said at the top, you had your own takeover episode, which ended season 1. So what other full circle is there, or can there be, than you doing a takeover episode, interviewing me for the final episode as well? So you did it at the end of season 1, and you're doing it now at the end of season 3. And I just thought that would be an ideal. So yeah, big shout out to Claire. Thank you for saying no to help me come up with the ideas. Well, she didn't help me come up with the ideas. I came up with the idea. She just said no. So thank you for saying no, because you put me on the path to doing this episode. There we go. I think that's credit enough for you. So 25%. Take it or leave it. But yeah, so you did your takeover episode, and you originally came on and you talked about performing arts in lockdown. How does it feel now that lockdowns have finished and the world is back open again, and there are theatre shows out there for everybody to go out and enjoy and watch?
It feels good. Don't get me wrong. It feels fantastic to see everyone back doing their thing. Obviously the future's uncertain at the moment. Hopefully people pull their fingers out their arse and get everything sorted, because this country's a mess. But you know, it's fantastic, because I've got a lot of friends that are back doing their thing. I mean, I'm still on my little hiatus, so I'm still away from it. You know, of course, I will go back to it. The book hasn't even hit chapter 2 yet, so I will be back on that stage doing my thing. But for everyone I know, and including my partner, you know, seeing everything back on stage and it all there, it brings hope back, because it was a nightmare. And I remember when we did the actual podcast, the episode, and it was at a peak of shittiness. I think because everyone was having to find another job, and the industry was losing people, and still has taken a blow. There's people that were in the industry before that were killing it that still have never gone back to performing, and it's such a shame.
Yeah,
That's what it's come to.
What words of advice would you give to somebody in that industry who may just need that little bit of a pick me up with the uncertainty of what the future holds for that industry?
Auditioning is like a job, and I wouldn't for that person. Don't take. It's all about taking the hits, and every job you go for, you're not going to be right for. That's a given. You know what I mean? It's like any job in the world. If you go for an acting job, it's very similar to if you go for a job somewhere. Your CV will fit in certain places, but then obviously your CV can say so much. In auditions, it's what you actually do on that day that matters. You'll be invited into the room. Obviously, you'll do that. But for those auditioning, of course, and there can be 8 rounds of auditions when you audition, and it's hard. I get that. My partner in particular knows that feeling because he's the king of getting to the last round and being pipped at the post because he wasn't right, and these issues, and that brings it to. I mean, I'm not, saying this, but it brings it into a race issue with where do you fit in? Because my partner's half Filipino. He's very mixed ethnicity. So for him to fit within an ensemble, if he was going for that, it's very hard. But all I'm going to say to you is stick it out. You're going to get a lot of no's, but that one yes you get could change it, could flip your career forever, and just go for it. It's one of those. It's an industry that you have to be resilient as fuck to be in. You have to be a psychopath to be in performing arts. And that's all I say. And you have to be tough. And I know people say, oh, yeah, but genuinely you have to be, because, there are still directors, there are still choreographers, there are still people out there that are very old school. And although we go, that's not okay to say that, no one's ever told them no. So be prepared for them to say something to you that you don't want to hear, is all I say. Don't retaliate. Say it to your agent. Let your agent deal with it, because that's, at the end of the day, what you pay them for. Sorry, Marcus, I'll let you carry on.
It's all right. Okay, so we have done our final episode of Spill It, and as it comes to a close, is there anything that we haven't discussed, or any questions that you have that we haven't discussed as of yet, or any questions that you have that you haven't asked before we say our goodbyes?
I couldn't put my glasses on without being on, it's still. Let me look in my book. You know what? No. I just want to say thank you as well for inviting me back. And, I think on behalf of all 107 of us that have been on your show, we thank you.
Thank you.
That's that, and it's not the bloody end, good Lord, but it's the end of Spill It currently. And just want to say thank you, and thank you for inviting me back. 2 years later, for goodness sake. So yeah, thank you, Marcus.
Well, obviously, I can't let any of my guests go without having to say an inspirational quote. Now, it can be something that they stand by, live by, something that they've made up themselves, etc. What quote have you got for me today?
I have said Stay unapologetically you, and most of all, stay fabulous. That is my quote.
And what does that quote? What does that quote mean to you?
I mean, I've always done it. I've always been myself. I mean, in times I haven't been myself, I've lied to people, and now I am, I am myself. I don't lie anymore, and it's the main thing for me. And stay fabulous, for goodness sake, guys. Life's too short to be a candle blower and care about what. All I say is, if you've got an opinion, keep it to yourself. If it's not nice, that's all I say.
Love it. Thank you.
So I have 3 questions for you before I disappear off the screen and it is left to the lady of the hour. Marcus, what has been the highlight of Spill It, and what have you what will you miss from it? What's been your biggest highlight, and what are you going to miss?
I don't think there's a singular highlight that from like a particular episode or a particular guest, etc. I think just speaking to so many different people from so many different backgrounds to hear so many different stories. As I said nearer the start of the episode, through one of your questions, actually, I was not that very well versed or educated with certain subject matters. And to be able to hear it from the words of people, it has really helped upskill me. It's really helped educate me. And I am so very grateful for that, because I can then use that information and push it out even further. And that's what I would say is a highlight. These inspirational quotes at the end of every episode, I think that has been something that people have loved. People have walked away from an episode and gone, that was a really good quote. I think the highlights would be the people and their stories that they have said, minus a few others. But I think overall, the people who have helped educate me with certain things, and I think I'm so very grateful for the fact that we've been able to connect people together, inspire others, and help people learn something, and including myself. I think that is what I'm going to take away from Spill It as a whole.
Marcus, love that. Next, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to start a podcast?
Oh, look at that, flipping the script. I asked this question to everybody. Just do it. The thing is, I see so many people who go, oh, I really want to start a podcast, but I don't know what to do. I'm going to buy this equipment and I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy the other. Just do it. Like, there's nothing stopping you from just setting up a camera, Spill It's first ever episode was filmed on a mobile phone. Simple as that. It was filmed on a mobile phone, and I controlled all of the banners and everything via a laptop. There was nothing else. It was just me on my own. It has always just been me on my own. You don't need a full-on setup. You don't need all of this costly equipment. If you've got a story to tell, if you've got a voice and you think that you want to start a podcast, do it. There's nothing stopping you. Somebody said to me when Spill It was, I think it was under 10 episodes old, somebody said to me, just to let you know, Marcus, podcasts, a lot of them don't reach 100 episodes. So please, just bear that in mind, that you probably won't reach 100 episodes. And I said, from that point, I will make sure that Spill It reaches 100 episodes. And here we are. I was very lucky with Spill It, that it blew up the way that it did. But if I didn't take that chance, if I didn't take that leap, I'd be sat doing nothing. I wouldn't be as educated as I am right now. You learn so many things from different people that you interview. And there's so many people that do podcasts on their own and don't have guests. Just do what you feel comfortable with and just jump in head first. Learn on the way. Upgrade your equipment as you go. Just get it done. Just get it done. There you go. Get it done.
JFDI, as I like to call that. Just fucking do it.
Yes, indeed.
Right. It's not a Spill It show unless, you know, you've asked 107 people what their quotes are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to ask you, what is your closing quote? What is your inspirational quote to close Spill It season 1, 2, 3, 100 episodes, one last time together? What is
I
your
really thought about this quote because I wanted something that was definitely for Spill It. And I thought about, connecting people together, inspiring others, and helping people learn something new. But we've done that, and it's not true to who I am. And I wanted something to reflect on my growth as a person, as a human being. And I wanted it to be something that was really, really meaningful for just me, but that would also inspire other people through the eyes of Spill It. And so I landed on the quote that's actually tattooed on my arm, which is, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I think when I first started this, I mean, we've talked about it throughout this episode. The way that Spill It first started was something to do with work. It was to make digital content. And the moment that something did not sit right with me, which is when they tried to take control of it, I stood up for what I knew was right. And I said to them, no, this is my platform and this is what I'm going to do. I made my own production company. I registered my own production company, The Right Experience, with thanks to Mike, who created my artwork for it and everything. But The Right Experience is my production company, and I registered Spill It under my production company, which then meant that they could not do anything. I stood up for what I believed in because I knew that it was the right thing to do. And then listening to every single person's story on here, when it comes to things like LGBTQ plus community, when it comes to trans rights, when it comes to just so many different things that we've talked about, like even like just health and fitness, whatever, you need to stand up for what you believe in, because if you let it slide, you don't have the right mindset if you're just letting things slide. You have to stand up for what you believe in. You have to make a stand. Because if you let one thing pass, you're going to let more pass. You're going to continuously let people walk all over you. So if you know and you believe in your heart that it's the right thing to do, then stand up for what you believe in. And I think I had that tattooed on me years ago, with the thought of, I really like that quote, and yeah. But I think the more that I've matured and the more that I've grown as a human being, I really have come to appreciate that quote, and I have come to really understand it and live by it as well. So that is my final Spill It quote for the Spill It podcast. Well, thanks for joining me on the final episode, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure having you interview me.
No worries.
Well, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's time for the final Spill It farewell from you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone who listened tonight and listened to all the other ones. And thank you, Marcus, for having me.
Thank you.
Ta-ra!
Thanks, Matt. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. And that was the final episode of Spill It. Oh, wow. This is the final episode of Spill It. That is mad. Oh, here we go. Oh, God. I'm not looking forward to this. So, yeah, that was the final episode of Spill It. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting Spill It from all episodes, all 107 episodes of No, 100. Let me start that again. I'm too much in my emotions. Thank you for supporting all 100 episodes of Spill It. I hope that during this journey you have learned something new, because that is what we have been doing here. We have been connecting people together, we have been inspiring others, and we have been trying to get people to learn something new. Spill It may have started in 2020 as a little project to connect people together during the lockdown, but it has grown so much more. I'm so proud to have had Spill It over the years, to be able to have interviewed so many different people. It's amazing. It's such a great feeling to have this. So thank you very, very much for everything. It's been one hell of a ride. Make sure that you do follow me on all of my socials. Make sure that you follow me. Oh God, I can't. Right. Whew. Breathe and breathe. I said I wasn't gonna do this. Okay. Make sure that you follow me on all of my socials. Oh my God, I can't even speak. I can't even get it out. It's horrible. Oh. Right. Okay. To keep up with absolutely everything that I do, you can follow me on all of my socials at @that_Marcus W. Oh, this is harder than I thought. Jeez. Okay. Nearly there. Ooh. Okay. You can also drop me an email, marcus@spillit.uk. And I just want to say another thank you for everything. Thank you for absolutely everything, because it's been amazing. So thank you. And who knows what the future holds, eh? Because there's some big plans for me, so don't you worry. So yeah, thank you so very much. It has been my pleasure. And for one last time, until we spill it again, it's bye for now. Thank you for supporting Spill It through all 100 episodes. Though Spill It may have ended, you can still catch up with every single episode that we have done over on your preferred podcast streaming service. And you can also follow me on all of my socials at @that_Marcus W. I just want to say a massive thank you to every single teacup out there who has helped support the podcast and the live shows. Together, we have connected people together, we have inspired others, and we have helped people learn something new. And I could not have done this without you. And until we spill it again, it's bye for now. And that's it. Well, thanks for all the good times. Well, I suppose we could leave the door open, just in case.